Hi everyone, my name is Juan Nicolas Suarez. I live in Cali, Colombia. Diseclar is a company that recycles plastic waste and we mix it with coffee shells. And with these two raw materials, we produce a new material. The material look like a wood, but it's no wood. So we produce profiles in order to produce furnitures, decks, pergolas, fences, and we sell our product to different markets, construction markets. We have different customers here in Colombia and Mexico and República Dominicana too. So we are looking to export our product to different countries around Latin America. And the principal function or product is to replace the wood in all applications. So you can use our product for other uses. And the customer don't need to make maintenance like a wood. So the customer will save money in the future. Also, we try to recycle the plastic, and we try to recycle the agro-industrial waste, and we are part to work with recycles and coffee farmers in our country. So we buy the raw material for recycles, and we buy the coffee shell from the coffee farmers. So we try to pay more for these raw materials in order to they get a new incomes. This is Diseclar good in Colombia.
Great, thank you very much. Let me see if there are any questions in the room. I have a few questions I've lined up as well, but let me give the floor first to one of our participants. Humayak, who's going to ask the question now, is one of the winners of the Social Impact Award in Armenia, which was held just a few weeks ago. And in fact, he is also working in the area of making furniture from plastic. So I'm very interested in hearing his question to you.
Perfect.
Okay, well, so as you know now, I recycle plastic too. So I have some questions for you. The first of them is that what type of plastic do you use?
We use HPDA and we use PP.
Okay, so polyethylene and polypropylene.
Yeah, exactly. High density.
So you can use them together, or you separate them and then only you are going to melt it.
It depends the product we will produce. For example, for decks, we use the both. For furniture, we only use the high density. It's depends on the product. For example, in decks, we have a new process, new manufacturing process, where we use into the deck, we use high density, and around the deck, we use PP.
What exactly is the industrial waste? It is only that waste from coffee, or with it is there is something else?
Okay, we use. You mean the industrial waste that we use in the mixture?
Yeah. Yes.
We can use coffee sauce. Also, we use the rice and sugarcane. Sugarcane.
Well, okay. I think there are enough questions for now. Thank you.
Don't worry. If you have some questions, you can also send me an email, and I can answer by email, or you can write me by WhatsApp, and I can answer your questions.
Of course. Thank you. I will have your mail, and we will speak.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Nicolas. Let me see who else in the room has a question. We have a question from Irina. Irina is also working in an organization that recycles plastic. So let me give the floor to her now.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. So I was curious, how do you do the logistics? Do people generally like bring it and you pay for it? or you organize the pickup yourself?
Okay, this is a good question. The first step of the company, we made all the logistics. We have some recycles that work directly with the company, and they recycle the plastic waste. But we understand that we need to grow the company, and we need to be easy all the process into the company. So we try to get some contacts with recycles, but they don't work directly with the company. So we buy the raw material for them, and then send the plastic to our factory, and we pay for that. But in this moment, we don't have a recycled direct for the company.
So you mean that you buy from somebody, let's say the PP material that is in the first form, and then you give it to another factory which makes a second product, and then you use it for making the furniture. Is that so?
No. We buy the plastic from the recycles, and they wash the plastic and send to our company. In our company, we make the whole process.
And do you purchase it only from Galia, or you also work with other communities in Colombia?
We work with other communities in Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela too.
So you import it from other countries as well?
Sometimes, yeah.
And for how much do you buy, like a kilogram or ton?
Oh, I check the price in dollars. Because
Okay.
I had the price in
You can tell me in pesos too.
We buy it. It's 50 cents.
50 cents?
Yeah. Per kilogram.
Both?
Yeah.
Both ATPE and
No,
PP?
the high density. The PP, we buy it 45 cents.
That's quite a lot. Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Let me ask you a more general question that is relevant to companies, not just in your area. Because in your case, you are aiming to replace wood with your product, with your recycled plastic. How did you decide where you would price your product? I mean, you had the cheap plastic that you didn't want to compete against. You had the more expensive wood, which you considered your main segment. Did you price yourself equivalent to wood or slightly cheaper to wood in order to attract customers from there? How did you decide your pricing strategy?
Okay, in Colombia we have a different kind of wood. We have a luxury wood. So the luxury wood is more expensive than the regular wood. So in this moment, our price is similar for the luxury wood. We get the price. We make story market in Colombia, and we try to see how is the price the luxury wood, how is the price for luxury furniture, how you can get good revenues. So we get the pricing for this process.
Okay. Any other questions in the room at the moment? We also have Vahan, who's joined us online. Hi, Vahan.
Hi everybody. Thanks for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. So Nicholas, the next question from me is to talk a little bit more about advertising, if you can, or how did you get your customers? I know we talked about this a little bit when we had our sort of interview, but how did you find your first customers, or how in general are you promoting your business, especially in the beginning? Did you do much advertising, or what approach did you use?
Okay, for free customers, this is a good history, because when I started with the idea, we won a contest in my university, and they give us a grant. It's like $1,000, and with this $1,000, we made the first prototype of the furniture. but we in this moment we don't have the machines to produce this kind of furniture. Also for this contest, we must make a video that we explain what is the product or what is the benefits or product. So someone in this moment saw our video in YouTube and write by YouTube and tell me I want to buy this furniture, and I tell him that we don't have a real furniture in this moment. So he going to my office and tell me I want to buy it, try to make the first furniture right now. So we start to very fast to find how can produce this furniture that we showed in the video, and we start to work with our university, and we made the first furniture and send for this customer. So this was the history how we get the first customer in the company.
This is a very interesting story. So just to make sure that sort of everybody gets it, the point is that you don't go into lots of investment and get lots of equipment until you have some proof that your product has demand. And by preparing a video of the product without actually having the product yet, you manage to get your first customer, basically.
Exactly.
And then once you already started your investment and you set up the business, when you wanted already a larger number of customers, did you do advertising, or how did you get like into the mainstream market?
Okay, for the furniture, we post many projects and many pictures about social media, but also we have some sellers, and the sellers try to go in every week to different customers around Cali, in Bogotá, Cartagena, and Barranquilla. And we made some advertising by newspaper, but this advertising in newspaper, we don't pay for that. We try to say the history about the company. We try to say how the company born, how we try to impact the environment. In the final, we tell the customer or the reader how we sell, what is the product that we sell. So we try to get the customer by this way.
So it was more like an article about you, not an advertisement.
Exactly.
Okay. And did you feel that this approach worked, or was newspapers the wrong media in general for Colombia?
What?
Did this approach work, or are newspapers not a good medium for advertising in Colombia? What was your experience with using this approach?
It's a good way. It's a good advertising by newspaper and magazine too.
Okay, thank you. Any questions that come up in the meantime in the room or online? Not yet? Yes, Irina has one more question. Just a second.
Go ahead.
So I was also curious about your opinion about recycling in rural areas, especially like in Choco communities in Colombia. How do you think it can be developed there, or if you are planning actually on working in other communities as well? Because as far as I understood, you have high demand, and do you plan on extending the production in smaller communities, or it's not very feasible?
Okay, we try to help the community for recycles to pay more for the plastic waste, but we don't plan to build a factory in this community because it's very expensive to get the factory that we have in this moment. A factory in this moment is like $1 million, so it's very expensive to get another factories in Colombia. We try to open other factories, but in other countries. For example, we are planning to open a new factory in Mexico, and maybe in 2 or 3 years. But in this moment, we plan to sell our products with a factory that we have in Colombia.
And who are your main customers?
We have construction. We sell our product to the government. we have some distributors that they sell our product to the final customers. So in general, we have three customers: the government, constructors, and distribution.
I see. And compared to any type of wood, what are the quality differences of the product that you get and compared to whatever it could be made out of wood?
Okay, we have some difference. For example, you use the wood in outdoor uses. In outdoor, you need to paint the wood every 6 months. You need to make maintenance. For a product, you need to do that. So you put our product in outdoor, and you need to paint it. You need to make maintenance.
And what about fire resistance? How resistant is your product for the fire?
For the fire, okay, it depends. I don't know how to say in English, but it's to extinguish. You know, you put a fire direct for the product, you can burn it.
Okay.
But the product don't produce fire.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. My next question is basically on the customers and the fact that because you're selling construction material and furniture, you very often, I assume, don't have repeat customers. I mean, your customers come and they buy something from you, they build their deck, or they furnish their deck, and then you don't see them for a while unless they need something else like a few years later or something. Is that a challenge for you as a business, and is there any way you have of going around that, of bringing new customers from the customers that you currently have, or what's your approach to that side of the furniture business and the construction material business?
Okay, in this moment, our big challenge is to open markets in other countries. That I told you, we try to open market in Mexico and República Dominicana, but it was a difficult process because we need someone in this country that want to open market in this country. So I don't know how to do that. Is try to get a distributor. The distributor know about our market, know about the construction materials, know about the furniture. And we try that this distributor have some sellers and have some installations people, because the guarantee of the product is to learn or to teach the people how to use and to install the product. For example, if you use the decks, we need to get some tips in order to install the decks for the good way.
Okay, so basically the idea is that you expand to new markets because there is a limited market where you are, and because the customers are not going to repeat, basically.
Yeah.
And expanding to new markets, I mean, the countries all around you are Spanish speaking. So in that sense, you have no problem. But culturally, are you very different from the countries you are trying to work with now? And I assume yes. And if yes, how do you work around those cultural differences? Is just one distributor enough? Or is there something you need to do to adapt your approach to each country, or to adapt your business to each country?
I think in Latin America, all customers are equal. I think that we don't need to make some difference in our product, because the market is very similar.
So the approach you have in Colombia, you assume will work in Mexico and the other countries as well?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Other questions in the room? Yeah, one question here. Can you also introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Nari. I'm a nutritionist. I'm more interested in food waste, but I'm also interested in the plastic domain as well. I have a question about your product. Like, for example, if a family has a dog and, just as we saw from the video, they need a house for the dog. But then somehow the dog dies, for example, and they have to get rid of the house, can they give back the product to you guys so that you can reuse it, or how does it work?
So you use my product. I sell your product. For example, if I sell a furniture, a chair, a table, and in 10 years you don't want to use it anymore, you can send our products to our factory, and we recycle again to produce another furniture.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if you've had any cases where dogs have died after you've given them a doghouse, but thank you for that response as well. The next question is actually related to that a little bit. It's about customer service. This is an area where I think in Armenia we still have some challenges, and many of our businesses, both commercial and social businesses, are learning to improve. What's the situation with the level of customer service in Colombia in general? And has this been a challenge for you? Because in some cases, working with customers, I mean, you're selling them a product that needs some kind of, that might need some kind of follow-up. How do you arrange your customer service in your business?
Okay, this is a big challenge because the customer service in Diseclar, when you work in construction, and when we sell the project, for example, we have two ways or two forms to sell our products. We can send the products that we produce. For example, if you want to make a deck, we can produce a deck for you, and you can install by yourself. But when you buy a big project in Diseclar, for example, if you buy the decks and also you want to Diseclar install your deck, this is a big challenge because when you send the people to your site to install our product, the customer want to have a good quality, want to have a beautiful deck. So this process take many time, and the people is very disgusted for a company. So in this moment, we are trying to change this process, and we want to install all the product by distributors, because when we try to install our products, this process get many time for us, and it's very disgusting for the company.
But you were saying there is also the possibility for customers to install it themselves, or is this too complicated?
No, it's not complicated. It's easy. In this moment, we are working to make some videos, to make some documents in order to send to our customer, and they can install the products by yourself.
I mean, some companies like IKEA, they save a lot of money there, right? They specifically design it in a way for customers to be able to assemble it themselves. In your case, this is just an option. It's not the customers do have the option of having it installed as well, and they pay extra if they have it installed by the distributors or by you.
Exactly. So something like IKEA. IKEA sell the furniture, and they can enable by yourself. But for construction profiles, we try to get some partners that they know how to install our products. So we try to sell you the profile to make a pergola or to make a deck, and we give you the phone number for the installing people, and they call the people to install it, and that's it. And we can save this process for the company.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any other questions in the room? If not, what would you say are the biggest challenges you face now as you're trying to grow as a social business?
Okay, when you think about the challenge, also you need investment. Also you need money. So in this moment, we are buying some machines because we want to produce doors. We want to produce doors and tables for our mystery. So in this moment, we are looking for investors in order to buy and increase our production capacity and produce this new product. Many of our customers asking if we can produce a doors, we can produce tables and something like that. Table no, it's board. Like we can produce a board. In this moment, we can do that because we don't have the specific machines to produce this kind of product. So we are looking for investors in order to get this new product.
And when you're looking for an investor, what is your pitch to your investor? Is it financial return, social impact, or a mix of both? What is the area in which you're concentrating your pitch?
It's the both. Need to get a financial return, but also we are looking for someone to want to get an impact with our company.
Okay, and how is that coming along? I mean, where do you go looking for investors who want to see a social impact and are maybe willing to give up some financial return for that impact, but still want some financial return? How do you go about finding these investors? What are the steps you're taking in this area?
Okay, we are looking for these investors, not in Colombia. We are looking for this investor in the United States and Switzerland. We get some meetings with this investor, and we send all the project to us. Also, we sell them the social impact and the environmental impact, and we are waiting for the answer with them.
Okay, and you mentioned Sweden, so one quick question there also. With a company like IKEA, do you see yourself as competitors, or is there potential for partnership and potential for investment from IKEA to sort of expand their portfolio to include your kinds of products as well?
I think it's a potential partner. If we can sell our product for them, they can be a distributor for Diseclar.
Okay, sounds good. Other questions in the room? Yes, we have one question here. You want to come here and ask the question? Or? Just a second, Ali from Impact Hub is coming.
Hi.
Hi.
So we were just discussing, and I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but so the coffee that you're using to recycle, is this basically the waste of the coffee that people like drink, or do you take the coffee beans from like what kind of coffee you use?
It's the coffee child. The coffee child is when you get the coffee from the tree. You need to dry the coffee, and after that you put it in the machine. So this wave that we get in the machine is the coffee shells that we use in the process.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so Hamaya, who asked the first question, is promising to send you some questions by email as well.
Yeah, okay. By email, if you want to chat with me by WhatsApp, it's okay for me. Perfect. You can send, Nazaret, you have my WhatsApp?
I have your email, not your WhatsApp. No, I have your Skype, but not your WhatsApp. Maybe you can reply to the last email I sent you, and
I can type by the chat.
You can send by chat also. Great. Are there any other questions in the room? Yes, there's one more question from Irina.
Sorry for asking so many questions. I'm also curious about the competition that you have there. Are there other organizations that are making similar product, or are there organizations that use the same raw materials that you do, because of which you get less or more expensive raw materials? Not for the coffee though, for plastic.
We have some competitors that they import the decks from China, but in China they use plastic with wood, so it's a little bit different. But this price of the product is very expensive than us. Also in Colombia we have a devaluation money from Colombian pesos. So when you import something for China, it will be very expensive in Colombia. So we have this difference from our competition.
And do you have any incentives for people to bring in their plastic waste, or the organization from which you buy, they like collect it from landfills, or they partner with organizations? How does that work?
Okay, we work with some, how to say that? So, it's no company, but it's a community for recycled. And the community for recycled, we try to help them to understand how to recycle the plastic. Also, sometimes we go to other people that help them to explain how to recycle paper, how to recycle steels, metal, aluminum. So it's not only we try to teach them how to recycle plastic. They can also recycle another products to sell to other industry. So, and we try to pay a good price for this plastic, because we need to get the plastic that we come from Diseclar cleaner. So we try to pay more for that.
So you also do like education for people that want to start recycling?
Exactly, we try to educate the people.
Can I share your contact details with a friend of mine from Colombia?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's from Cali? From where?
No, he lives in Bogota, but originally he's not from there. But he works with the communities that are close to Cali, and I think the indigenous people more, and they were also really interested in figuring out a way to recycle or sell the plastic waste. So I don't have like super many details, but that's what I know.
What is his name?
Of the person?
Yeah.
Jorge. Pretty common name in your country.
Okay, what is the last name?
Forero. Also pretty common surname in your country.
Okay.
I will just like email him your contact details, and maybe he can reach you out and see if this can lead to something.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions in the room? If not, it looks like we have no more questions. Thank you very, very much for your time, Nicolas. I think it was very useful, especially to those of us who are in this sector in Armenia, but also to social enterprises in general. As you know, we have recorded this webinar, we'll translate it into Armenian. And I think the experience that you have and some of the advice that you gave today will be useful to people in this area in Armenia. Thanks a lot for your time.
No, thank you for the invitation.
Just a quick question. It could sound very general. First of all, thank you very much. It was very interesting for me to know all about this opportunity to recycle the plastics. And my question to our guest speaker: will you be interested to through the franchising, let's say, to introduce your technology and to cooperate with some local partners here in Armenia to establish a small plant to test your technology, how it works, and then maybe it would be interesting for you to expand it or even to work for this region?
This is a good question. We can study the opportunity. I think that we make some, I don't know how to say that, but we can have a partner in your country and we can give you the technology, the formula, and we can work together.
I see. Because
actually, contact details are in the chat. Maybe you can provide more details separately.
Let's continue in that way. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Nicolas, for your time and for being a part of the SELLA project. We'll be in touch with you later as well.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.